Hi, this is Human Essence, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing a deep dive of This Is Our Story. Now, I've reviewed this book before, but this will be a more in-depth review of the book, and it is a review of the book, so there are no copyright issues for you lawyers out there. So, first we are introduced to Chapter 1, and we're going to be talking today about the three characters. So they're very short characters that introduce them. So the first person is Rosa Hernandez from Jujuy, Argentina. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I don't want to mispronounce it. And we learn about her through the vehicle of Rosa's diary. So the tone is of a young girl, maybe 13 years old, and she's writing about her story. So her tone is of an innocent young girl, right? So we hear that her father has died. She has a much younger sister, Maria. The family is missing the father, and we can gather by some of the stories that the family didn't have much money. So they're eating pumpkin empanadas, and the father's working in the field, and so there's closeness, and the mother and the girls miss the father. And we learn that Rosa is happy that she's a good deal older than her sister Maria because she got to spend more time with the father. So we also learn that she loves school and that she's in the 8th grade, and she has a teacher who is, dresses up like a Yankee, like an American, which they find to be quite sophisticated. And she has a best friend at school whose name is Anna. Then one day, an elegant woman from America, who's actually from the town, who's sort of done good and gone to America, comes to visit the town. Her name is Senora Cuenca. And she convinces Rosa's mother that Rosa could earn as much as $400 a week in a restaurant that she owns in America, and that Rosa could continue her education there for as long as she wanted to. And to make good, to show her just how much money she has, she gives Rosa's mother $5 in American money, which seems like a fortune, just to show her this is nothing to her. She has this available. So Rose is very excited by this opportunity, and the only thing she wants is if she could get her friend Anna to come with her. So there's a lot of foreboding about what's going to happen to them in America. So now we move on to Chapter 2, and we get the next victim of trafficking. And here we have a really different kind of tone. So here we're in Slovakia, and we've got the main character whose name is Mila, and the last name is spelled Gulej. I don't know how to pronounce that, so that's why I'm spelling it. And we learn from her that she's got kind of like a toughness and an edge to her, a sort of belief in her ability to manipulate, and a kind of rebelliousness with her mother, rebelliousness and a bit of disdain. That's the feeling that we get, in my opinion. So we learn that her father visited her when she was 8 years old, took her ice skating, she cut her leg. He said he let her go on purpose so she would learn to take care of herself, to learn that she has to rely on herself. And she learned that lesson, and she never saw him again. He never returned again to visit. And we also learn that Mila's mother works in a cafe doing the same work that Mila does. Her mother is 38 years old and was forced to marry Mila's father when she got pregnant with Mila. And so she followed after, Mila's Mila's father, who was riding a motorcycle and seemed like a, cool, dangerous guy, and she ended up in this predicament. So Mila is like seeing these Canadian and American tourists there. She knows how to kind of get tips out of them. She has a little bit of disdain for them, and she's taught herself English by listening to American movies. And she likes fashion. She's got a boyfriend that she's rather bored with, and she wants to become a movie star. But her mother says, oh, you should save your money and go to university and become a doctor. And you're living in a fantasy, thinking you'll become a movie star. Mila said, no, one day I'll take you. I'll take you to where I'm going. And we'll become, Americans, and there'll be a whole future to you. So it sounds like both of them are fantasizing a little bit about Mila's future, but having different fantasies. So the tone there is of, somebody in fantasy and somebody who believes that she's competent, that she can do it, that she can move on with her life. Now the next character is the one that is self-described as most similar to Wendi herself, but she's basing it on a different character. So this is a character called Lily, who is an attorney, who has a sister, Helen, who's a nurse, and she'd come from Washington, D.C., where she'd been working as a corporate lawyer. And her tone is joking, a little bit mocking, and the tone is humorous, as if the reader should be in on the joke. So the reader is supposed to be able to, oh, I can relate to this person, whether you can or not. That's you can decide when and if you read the book. We learn that she expresses that while she was working as a corporate lawyer, she was doing it to pay off her loans. And she's doing document review and billing, which is very boring. And she's single, and she feels like she's traded in her values because she needed money, and that she wanted to do something, maybe some good for others. That's foreshadowing, which we're going to find out how she changes and what becomes most important to her. We also feel that she's adjusting to marriage to an English professor whose name is Josh Stone. So she was lonely in DC, and then she found a professor, and the chapter begins with she finds herself doing things in love that she wouldn't normally do sober. And then she's describing that where they ended up, and they ended up in a life that's very foreign to her, that's in the Florida Panhandle. And so seems to be adjusting to all of this, and that's where the chapter leaves us. So we're introduced to the three characters in the book. So we'll find out how these characters interact in next chapters. Thanks for listening, and this is for those of you who maybe haven't read the book and may want to read this book, because the book comes up in the trial. They use the book to argue about dissatisfaction in Tallahassee. I have to say, I don't think it's their strongest argument, because they have all the documents and all the things that people said about wanting the children South Florida. So, it was used in Charlie Adelson's trial. We'll see if it comes up again in Don Adelson's trial. But thanks for listening.